This week's show brought to you by Roosters, a fun casual joint. Frank Shoup, Georgetown's big name in cars.
Welcome everybody to the News Graphic Scott County Cardinals Football Coaches Show State Semifinals Edition. Thanksgiving edition too, as they say on TV, from our family to yours. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Glad you chose to spend a little bit of this week with us as we break down both the second consecutive championship victory, regional championship victory for the Cardinals as they defeated Frederick Douglass 45-13 last Friday night, and also talk about the game that's ahead this Friday night in Louisville against St. Xavier, the powerhouse program, the Tigers. St. X has been one of those teams that since the beginning of the year, everybody's been talking about Trinity, Male, St. X. Some combination of those schools we would see down the road if Scott County were fortunate enough to continue on through the playoffs, and indeed that has happened as we've arrived at the semifinals, the Final Four in Class 6A, and here we are Friday night, ready to go to St. X. How did we get there? Well, it was a good game on Friday night. A good quick start for the Cardinals. Some things didn't go right, some things did go right. Some bounces and breaks went the Cards' way. They got a 21-0 lead pretty quickly. One of those touchdowns was scored on their own fumble, which Landon Easley fell on in the end zone, and they recovered a fumble on the kickoff after that, scored again quickly as Bronson Brown made the big play. Another touchdown later, it was 21-0, and we thought maybe this is going to be a little easier this time, but Douglas hung in there. It was 21-7 at the half, took a long drive out of the half for the Cardinals to kick a field goal and kind of make it a three-score game and be on their merry way. Big plays by Burke Watts, an interception return for a touchdown, and a fumble recovery as well. That produced the margin of victory. A lot of yards through the air for Frederick Douglass, but once again, another team, another night where the opposition couldn't run the ball against the Scott County defense. But that's probably going to change this week, or at least St. X is going to try. They get most of their work done on the ground. It's been an interesting season for the Tigers. They've been solid at quarterback with Albers there. He's kind of an in the Josh Davis mold. He can throw a little bit, likes to run as well. With the running backs behind him and falling, dropping like flies, as they say. Last week, in the Butler game in the regional final, St. X was down to its fourth different running backs, fourth string, a guy that played receiver earlier in the year because of a knee injury to one player, a hamstring injury to another, a shoulder injury to another. So it's that time of year. Scott County's not exactly 100% physically either. Some of the key Friday night is just to see which team can patch up its injuries and mask them a little bit better and see how it plays out. But certainly SC has been on fire offensively throughout the season. Bryce Fryman with a huge game the other night, 284 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Austin Barnett was over 100 yards as well. Just about 500 yards on the ground in all for the Cardinals, who did most of their damage on the ground against Frederick Douglass and put them away for the second time this season, just as they had put Henry Clay away for the second time the week before that. So it's going to be good to see a different opponent, somebody new. Everybody's excited to watch film on St. X, and you'll hear from Coach in a moment. As he says, honestly, some of the teams the Cardinals have played so far might be a little more gifted physically, but St. X has that tradition. They do what they do well. A lot of similarities here between the two teams, and that's going to make it a fun game on Friday night, I think. So yes, we did talk to Coach as always. He took this interview in a lot of different directions, so you'll hear what he has to say about last week's game, about this week's game, and about the overall tradition of just playing in this state semifinal for the 7th time in 9 years. It's one of those things that sort of sustains itself, and as young players see this happening, when they're little kids, they want to be part of it, and eventually they become juniors and seniors and do this the way these Cardinals have. Let's hear what Coach McKee had to say.
Scott County has a chance to build on its championship legacy Friday night.
You know, I remember when I first got to be the coach here, I would check my voicemail about 3 times a day. Because I just wanted somebody to call me so I could feel important, like I was really doing something. And, you know, when you look back and as you get older, I'm almost 50, you know, your life complexion changes. And I talk to these guys, and, you know, I've known a bunch of them growing up. They played Little League baseball and had a lot of success. They played middle school football and had a lot of success. They played Little League football. I remember when they were, you know, on a Little League football team, and then middle school and baseball and basketball. You know, they had a lot of success, but, you know, my message to them is don't let those successes be your greatest successes of your whole career. Because if you can win on Friday, you can be in a state championship game. And, you know, I mean, I know it sounds like coach speak and corny, but, like, I want that for them. I mean, I don't know if many of them love football as much as I love it, but they like it or they wouldn't be out here playing. You know, I would go in the 80s and 90s. My first state championship I saw was a 1985 Class A game between Crittenden County and Paintsville. Joey Couch, who went on and played at Kentucky, played for Paintsville. Crittenden County won. You know, and then from then on, I would go to Old Cardinal Stadium and watch the state championships, and I would watch the team come in, and I would envision what will it be like when our team can come in. What will we wear? Where will we stop and eat? Will we spend the night? And when we finally got to do that, and now we've gotten to do it 3 times, I don't want to overblow it up and say that it's some kind of life-changing moment for a kid. But I'll tell you this, that's something a kid always will remember. And their community will remember it too. I mean, this isn't Lexington, this isn't Louisville. Now, St. X High School's got a little community, I'm sure. You know, people that all went to St. X. I mean, this is our community, Scott County, Georgetown. And, you know, these cats will be in the Galvins of Georgetown in 30 years if they come home for a reunion, and somebody in there is going to remember the 17 team if we can get to the finals.
Coach McKee will stack the Cards' talent against any team in the state.
Well, the first thing it takes, another thing that I loved to do when I first started coaching was I love to draw a play up over the weekend or whatever, run it on Friday night and it worked, and I was looking so hard for what, you think?
Pat on the back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that McKee's a genius, and well, what a call, what a call.
Now you just wear the headphones, you don't care either way.
The biggest thing that we have is good players.
Yeah.
You know, now, I mean, St. X has good players too, but I mean, Fryman, he's a really good running back. Barnett's good. Peyton Brown's unsung. Josh is a good quarterback. Glenn's a good wideout. You know, the guys across, Easley's the most improved player on the team. You know, Hudson's a good player. The guys that stepped in at guard. You flip over on defense. You know, Watts obviously stands out. It's a really good player. Rob is a good player at safety. And Lolly, you know, I could list them on, but, you know, the biggest thing is good players. Now, have we helped develop them? Yes, we have. And have we coached them and tried? When I feel bad, like they caught us in a couple corner blitzes the other night, and, you know, they just crushed us right as soon as our running back got it. It's a great call by them, but, you know, I feel a lot worse about the bad calls that I make now than I do good about the good ones. Because my only responsibility for these guys is to put them in the best position to win on Friday. Whatever that is, I have a responsibility, and the rest of the coaches do, to put them in the best position to win. And if we do that, they'll take advantage of it and make the plays.
Tradition is as much an ingredient as talent in St. X's success.
Well, Frederick Douglass is very talented. You know, they deserve a lot of credit for what they've done. I thought they played the game hard. I thought they played within the rules. I thought they played with class, and I think they'll only get better. As far as God-given ability, they're much more talented than St. X is. The difference is, you know, Frederick Douglass is a new school, and not to fault those kids, but as soon as the game was over, many of them were moving on to something else. The St. X kids are going home to a family that say, hey, we haven't been in the finals since '09. Why haven't y'all been to the finals? Or the brother played and won the '05 state championship, or the dad played and won the '63 state championship. So in a nice way, what I'm saying is it means more to St. X than it does Frederick Douglass, only because of 100 years of it being that way.
The St. X Tigers rolled through their regional tournament.
Like I said, like if it was a track meet, Douglass would win it going away. But if it was a weightlifting meet, St. X would probably win it going away. And they put their players in positions where they don't make mistakes. The quarterback is good. I'm not good with names. The quarterback's a good runner, good thrower. He's what makes them go on offense. Defensively, they're very aggressive, run to the ball very well. And they've got a very good kicking game. They got a left-footed guy kicks off, kicks the majority of them in the end zone. They've got the best punter that I've seen. They're good on extra points and field goals. You know, they're not going to beat themselves. We're not going to go up there and then beat themselves. We'll have to beat them.
Scott County had 2 significant playoff tests leading up to Friday's state semifinal.
One thing that's been a great advantage for us over the years, unlike a Cincinnati Moeller, you know, Cincinnati Moeller, after they played us, had a relatively easy game against Lafayette. Then they got into a grind of like 5 games in a row, St. Ed, St. Ignatius, St. X, all these people, where every starter is having to play every play of the game. they're going full 4 quarters as hard as they can go. We've been fortunate enough. I think I figured out, I believe we're like 63-2 in the regular season in Kentucky in the last 7 years. And of those 63 wins, about 50 of them, we've had running clocks or gotten far enough ahead that we don't have to push our guys the whole way. Now, we had to play Henry Clay 4 quarters. We had to play Douglas 4 quarters. Obviously, we're going to play 4-quarter game this Friday if we win another 4-quarter game. So our guys are beat up a little bit.
The Cards need to minimize mistakes in order to win Friday night.
Yeah, it's I never dodge what I think are the facts, and it probably doesn't help me in a popularity contest. But, and I told the kids, I said, used to be the most famous restaurant in Louisville was Kingfish. That was a big, real famous fish joint. You ever heard of that? The Kingfish? Did you ever eat there, man? Little Scroggin Jr. right there. I said, if we're going to go up there and lay it down on the ground 6 times, we might as well call it Kingfish. And instead of go to the game, let's go over to the Kingfish. Simple as that. I mean, we're not going to do it. We're not going to win. Now, if we go up there and absolutely take crystal clean care of the ball, everybody stays healthy. All right, defensively, we play them tough, and offensively, we hit a couple shots down the field. We have every opportunity to win the game.
All right, that was Coach. He's excited about all the tradition of this holiday week and being able to practice leading up to a game, and excited about the family Thanksgiving dinner for the team on Wednesday and the Christmas tree and all that stuff. It's great tradition around here, and it's fun to be a part of it. We had a couple of special guests on the show this week. Players and coaches alike are excited. Some new faces, some people that haven't been to this point, and some coaches that have been part of Coach McKee's staff for a long, long time and have seen this movie before. Let's see what those special guests had to say about the St. X game.
Adam Grieving was a welcome addition to the football team after starring in track.
Coach McKee and Coach Monty. Coach Monty is my track coach, and they just asked me to come out, and they said I'd get playing time, so I didn't really have anything else to do, so why not?
Football has been a big adjustment, but one that Adam is glad to have made.
The practices, 3-hour practices and stuff, I'm not used to that. Track practice only lasts an hour and a half, so, that's just about it, and playing in the dark.
The atmosphere around the team and the school have been intense leading up to the game.
It's a pretty good atmosphere. Everybody's excited, and, we got the ticket sales going and people posting on Twitter, and everybody's excited and ready to go.
When you start getting cold in October, you're getting ready. So we feel like, this is just a thing for us. We told the guys last week, we deserve it. Make everybody else earn it. But being around here for a long time, I feel like this is where we need to be.
The Cardinals are excited to face a new opponent this week.
Yeah, and we haven't played St. X in quite some time, especially in varsity. We did play them a couple years back in JV, but like these guys know, you see Henry Clay, you see the Douglas for 2 times in 1 year, so you kind of get burnt out. But I believe after last week, we knew what we had to do, and we did what we did, and kind of put Douglas away just to kind of, hey, we're Scott County, we're the big dogs on this bus. So. But we're excited. The guys are prepared. It's about 30 degrees out here, so it's the guys are fired up. They've been practicing hard for about 2.5 hours. So I think they're excited to go play somebody like St. X.
After a tough early season schedule, Scott County appears to be peaking at the right time.
We're just getting tougher. We're practicing out here, just grinding, and throughout the season, after those 2 Ohio games, we just toughened up, and we don't let everybody run on us.
2 years ago, we played Elder for 2 years back-to-back, and this year was two great Ohio teams as well. And it's probably 2 games we could have won if we just done a couple of things here and there better on offense or defense. But you learn from your mistakes, and I think we've grown a lot. And of course, we got a lot better. And Coach Monty's hauling ass right now. He's ready to go. But it's fun. The guys are having fun. They got the Christmas tree. They're gonna have the big dinner Wednesday. Thursday morning, traditional Thanksgiving practice with coffee and donuts. So I think this is what it's all about right here for high school football.